Welcome in to the first ever Wacky Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Luis
Woo!
Lopez. Today I'm joined with my co-host.
Zeke Big Dog Shones.
Let's get right into it. Football
Let's
night
do it.
tonight. Are you excited? Who you got tonight, Zach?
The Chiefs, dude. Come on.
Okay, that was pretty obvious. I'm hoping Mahomes throws about 30 touchdowns and maybe Lamar snaps his ankle the first play. How about you?
I'm thinking Lamar and Pacheco are gonna have bad games.
But Mahomes will go off.
Yeah, that's my expert analysis.
That seems about right to me. All right, let's get in. Today we're actually going to focus more on the offseason. We have a lot to catch up on. I mean, we basically missed a whole year, but since neither of us won, we're going to kind of pretend that year didn't happen.
Perfect. It ruined my Christmas.
It ruined my Christmas too. All right, so we're going to start off all trades post last season. So our first trade came from Zack and Ian. Zack sends over the 9th pick of the 2024 draft for tight end Kyle Pitts. Now, at the time, this is a little mind-blowing. It still is to me because Zack has like 6 tight ends on his team.
Yeah, and they're all pretty young and better than Kyle Pitts.
Yep. Ian, too, was also struggling at tight end for most of the season last year, probably because he had Kyle Pitts on his team.
Yeah, I mean, that's just gross.
It is very gross. So, baffling trade. Me personally, I'd rather have the first round pick than Kyle Pitts, but to each their own.
What happened with that pick?
We got a lot of trades to go over. A lot happened to that pick. I don't believe Ian picked that pick, so we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Let's find out.
All right. Oh, it looks like we got a little audio. Let's see what that is. Oh shit! It's a classic song by now retired.
It's hard to love.
Well, he retired from his side hustle of the NFL to focus on his
It's hard to
treatment.
give out of your soul and
Kelsey Plum.
Cheating on Kelsey Plum. And then making
your
a
heart
song
broken in
about it.
return.
That's enough of the song. We're gonna end it there. So this trade, Aaron sends over Tyler Lockett, Darren Waller in parentheses now retired, and Ty Chandler to Tim for Gabe Davis and the 19th overall pick in the 2024 draft. It seems weird I'm sorry, Tim. I'm going to say right now, I much prefer Aaron's side. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
He got a Viking, so I think
That's
Tim wins
true.
this one.
Ty Chandler is a big upgrade from Dwayne McBride.
Oh, yeah.
All right, our third trade came from
Oh
Zach.
boy,
This was a big one. Zach and
this
Cade
might
were
be
here.
possibly the greatest trade in Dynasty history.
It's up there for sure. Zach, you sent over Aaron conspiracy theorist Rogers to Cade for backup running back Rico Dowdle. Cade was quoted as to saying he made this trade for political reasons, and that's all he said about it. And another footnote here: Rogers was later dropped, picked up by Garrett Flink.
It's a great pickup. I think he's going to have a great year. I would never have dropped him.
Well, would you
I
rather have
wouldn't.
hung on to Deshaun Watson?
No,
All right.
I wouldn't have traded him away if I weren't getting, top 5 running back.
As the Zeke owner, I will say Rico Dowdle is probably the better running back.
Not probably. I think I could be a better running back than Zeke at this point.
All right, fair enough. But you don't have the connection that him and Jerry have.
True. That is true.
Jerry is going to get him on that field.
He's going to segregate Rico Dowdle.
All right, here's a big one. Let's play the audio. Let's play the audio. Yep, that's all we needed. Cade sends DeAndre Swift and the 301 in 2024. Oh, and the 310 in 2024 to Tim for Tim's 2026 first round pick back. All right.
Yeah, I mean DeAndre Swift. I don't think he's very good.
That offense is going to be good, but he had a better offense last year and still kind of sucked.
That offense might be good. And he had a great offense last year, and he was good last year, but I think most running backs would be in that situation.
I think more running backs would have scored instead of letting Jalen vulture all their touchdowns.
But, he also got the 301 and the 310. So I'm sure he kept those picks and made some good picks with them.
I'm sure he did. And again, we'll come back to that. All right, this was a big trade again. You're involved. You're making moves, and of who else is on the other side but Tim? Tim's name is going to show up a lot throughout this PowerPoint. You sent him David Njoku, Khalil Shakir, and Dontavian Wicks for Josh Downs and the 301. How are you feeling about this one now?
I regret this trade immensely. I don't regret Njoku. He fucking burned himself. What an idiot. But Khalil Shakir is now potential number one. And Dontavian Wicks, I don't really... You know what? It's not that bad. Dontavian Wicks, fucking stupid Packer.
It sucks that Josh got hurt.
Josh got hurt. He'll probably be back week 2. He's on my taxi squad anyways. And the 301, we'll see that later.
Yeah, we will see that later. I will say I did like your pick at 301. Yeah, it's tough because if Josh Downs doesn't have that ankle injury, I think this is a pretty fair trade. But I mean, Josh Downs getting hurt. Is he playing? I think he is. Or is
Josh
he out?
Downs, has not practiced yet. I think he's going to miss this week.
All right, it's a bit sketch, but I mean, maybe he's good later. You just got to hope AD Mitchell doesn't pop off. And maybe JJ does pop off. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. I gave a little spoiler.
He popped his knee. Let's move on.
Yeah. We're going to the Zacks now. You're back here again. But we got the Zacks trade.
I love this trade.
For you or for Zach?
For Zach.
Which one?
With a K.
Oh! All right, let me send this one out. So Zach with a C sent James Cook and Bryce Young to Zach with a K for Anthony Richardson and Zach's with a K's 2025 third round pick. So you like this trade still?
I mean, that's just too easy. I have the most quarterback depth. I have the best quarterback in the league. I have the most quarterback depth now. Anthony Richardson, he got a boo-boo last year. He's going to get one this year. I got a elite running back on a team with no wide receivers. And, former number 1 overall pick that I maneuver my way into the greatest player of all time.
That is true. Personally, I do really like James Cook. I think he's going to be pretty good. I do like Anthony Richardson, but I'm with you. He's a scary, scary player to hold onto. You never know if he's going to get injured with his playing style. But if he is able to play, he's probably a top 5 quarterback.
I think he averaged like 7 fantasy points a drive last year before he got hurt.
That is ridiculous. But I mean, he got hurt like week 2 or something? It was pretty early.
Yeah, it was like a game and a half he played.
So a lot to see. He's got good weapons. Anthony Richardson, not Bryce Young. Bryce has okay weapons, I guess. But Anthony Richardson, he's got some good weapons out in Indy. We'll see how he's able to perform this year. And I think
He's going to be
it's
throwing to
fair
Josh
trade
Downs.
if Josh Downs is able to play.
He's going to play. He'll miss 2 weeks max.
Or he's going to throw bombs to AD Mitchell.
No, he's a bitch. Let's go to the next one.
All right, we got an audio for this one.
Mike Will made it.
Yes, sir. Mike Will did make it. Luis sends over Matt Stafford and Evan Ingram to Ian for Mike Williams and the 206 in the 2024 draft. Do you mind if I read you a quote really quick?
Of course. Go ahead.
Evan Ingram's comments after being traded. It hurts leaving the disgusting acts. I'm even considering retirement over playing for Dude Perfect.
That
and
is
that is a
interesting
direct quote.
because we saw an elite tight end retire after a trade in our dynasty. So I wouldn't have been surprised if Evan Ingram decided to hang it up.
We
But
do carry that between.
you know, he's got an elite quarterback thrown to him. I think he'll be okay. You know, he's a solid tight end.
He is good. He is good. It actually kind of hurt sending him over because now I had to pick up Tyler Conklin to back up Mark Andrews.
That shouldn't hurt. You should be elated at that.
Well, as long as Mark Andrews stays healthy.
And you know,
and
Matt Stafford is pretty good, but you know, how many years does he have left? 2?
Yeah, maybe. He is old as butts. And personally, maybe you can weigh in on this as a less biased point of view, but I think I got 2 pretty good quarterbacks already. The only reason I had Stafford was because both of them were hurt at some point last year. I don't know. Maybe you don't like my quarterbacks as much, but I think Kyler and Herbert are up there as 2 of the best in the league. Although I don't think Herbert's fantasy production will be very good this year.
You know, I think Herbert's dealing with like a lingering injury, and Black Ops 6 is coming out pretty soon, which means Kyler might be a little distracted.
Well, maybe I should have hung on to Stafford, but I did get Mike Will, and you never know. Maybe Rodgers is good. I traded away Garrett Wilson. I needed a piece of that Aaron Rodgers offense.
Well, you know, I think Mike Will is going to be their number 1. I think that's pretty obvious based on the skill of the 2 players.
As soon as he's healthy enough, he will be taking all the targets away.
Yeah.
Even from Brees.
You know, there's that video that came out of Rodgers and Garrett Wilson getting into a little heated discussion on the sideline.
Yeah.
I think that's indicative of what's to come. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have a terrible year.
I agree completely. We're going to move on now to the Shones boys make a deal. You mentioned this one earlier when we made your other trade with Zach, and now you're bringing it back up. But you sent over Bryce Young, your own 2025 and 2026 first-round picks to Paul for one, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. And I have a video of you here dancing after you completed this trade.
Well, you've made a pretty common mistake. That's actually not me. That's Jackson Mahomes.
You two look very alike.
I'm pretty sure he's like a sexual predator.
Okay? Never mind. I won't bring it up. This is a good pick, or a good trade. Paul, I mean, we haven't gotten to the more recent trades yet, but Paul seems to be going for more of a boot it down the road. But I mean, his team is still good. Just trading away good assets for future picks.
He's loading up on picks. He did not need Mahomes. He has Stroud and Purdy.
Yeah, those are 2 pretty good quarterbacks.
And, you know, I think this probably second only to the Rico Dowdle trade is one of the best trades ever made.
For Paul?
For me.
All right, dude. Let's go on to the next one. I don't know if too much needs to be said about Mahomes. All right, this one between Chris and Aaron, I believe. I didn't write his name down for some reason, but I'm 99% certain it was Aaron. Chris sends over Zay Flowers and the 108 in 2024 for Brandon Cooks and the 104 in 2024. Interesting trade. Any initial thoughts?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same.
It makes sense. He moved up 4 spots, got a good receiver, gave up a shit receiver.
It's a pretty even trade, in my
It's a pretty
opinion.
fair trade.
Yeah. And we will again get to these picks later on in the podcast. All right, this one does involve me, but I sent over the 105, the 205 in 2024, and Cade's third round pick in 2025 for Chris Olave and Mr. Irrelevant, aka pick 310 in the 2020.
This year. I mean, look at that dude to his right.
Yeah, I'm seeing him. It makes me cry.
Possibly the worst starting quarterback in the league.
He's up there.
He's right there with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and that was because our actual guy got a torn meniscus. But yeah, I mean,
a heavy favorite to win this year.
probably not. No, in factoid,
Sure.
I got a couple of young wide receivers on my team, in Chris Olave and Tank Dell. Do you know which one is younger?
I'm gonna guess Olave because
Are you?
it wouldn't.
Because I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I
That
feel
is
like it'd
it.
be the obvious choice to guess would be Tank Dell.
Nope, you are correct. It is Chris Olave. He's actually born. He was born in 2000, the year 2000. So he's still a baby at heart. You've been to the year 3000.
You said we weren't going to talk about that.
All right, the next trade is the other Zach, not to get confused with Zach hosting. Zach sent over Nico Collins in the 207 in 2024 for Dontavian Wicks and the 105 in 2024. I believe this was to Tim because I just traded him the 105 and I forgot to write the name down.
Dude, what is going on with you?
Sorry. I'm on Tim's side for this one personally. I like Nico. I think he's gonna be good.
Nico's good. They have a lot of weapons.
They do got a lot of weapons.
And Wicks is the shit Packer. We've been over that, so
Yeah. Again, maybe this is a strong take, but I'm on Tim's side with this one.
Tim's in a win now mode. I think it's not an unfair trade.
No, not at all. But you're right. Tim is win now. Zach maybe still needs a year to start contending.
He needs a couple of running backs.
That would have been nice, and we'll get to that later on in the draft too. Tim and Cade trade again. Who knew?
I think this is like their 15th trade between each other.
I think so. And this was a big one. They've all been big. Well, most of them have been big ones. And this was yet another where Cade sends over Jalen Waddle, Tim's 2025 first round pick, Tim's 2026 third round pick, my 2025 third round pick, and Cade's 2025 first and second round picks to Tim for Bijan Robinson and Tim's 2027 first round pick. I don't know if there's much to say other than this was a big trade.
Big trade. We'll see how it plays out.
Cade hates Waddle.
When he's stuck behind the best receiver of all time.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
All right, dude. We're going to need to go quiet again for a few more seconds. Did you really think Tim was done? Did you really think he wouldn't trade more?
Absolutely not. He offered a trade to just about everybody in the league, and he finally got Paul to bite.
Yeah, so Tim sends over Khalil Shakir, his own 2025 first and third round picks, his own 2026 second round pick, and then Cade's entire 2025 draft class, first, second, and third, to Paul for Puka Nacua. Is this the greatest?
Pupu na Pupa.
Pupu. Is this the greatest free agent pickup ever? in our 1 year.
Probably. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe ever.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people did it last year, but I mean, Paul did it in our league, so hats
If
off. You got it,
Puka falls off a cliff this year, uh, Paul is a prophet.
of course. I mean, he got a wide receiver for Josh Allen and 2 entire draft classes for
And,
a player he
Cooper
added
Kupp,
last year.
Cooper Kupp is healthy. Puka coming back from an injury might be a down
And
year
and
for
Matt
the
Stafford.
Pookster.
Matt Stafford has been a little injured too, and you don't know if he goes out, it's not going to be great. They'll probably still be good.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Last year they had to use Baker for a few games. It got rough out there.
If Puka's good, Tim better win the ship because he gave up a fuckload for him.
He did give up a lot. He's playing for now. And wouldn't you know it, another Tim and Cade trade. Cade sends over Chase Brown and Ben Sinnott, maybe I'm butchering his name, to Tim for Xavier Legette and Troy Franklin.
So if you break this down, Tim traded the I believe the 4th pick of the second round, 6th pick of the second round
He traded 2
And-
earlier second round picks.
for the 210 and the Bengals
And-
backup running back.
It is definitely questionable.
I got nothing to say about this one. Let's just
I do. Come on,
I like
Tim.
that picture
Of Ben or of Franklin the Turtle?
of Troy Franklin.
Okay, yeah, that's his high school photo. All right, now for the moment we've really been waiting for, the draft recap. We're going in order of draft picks, whether you had them or not. We're just going in order from 1 through 10. So we're gonna kick it off here with Zach. Looks like we got an audio for this one.
Wow, it's very nice.
Nice. Very nice.
I do love me some Borat. The only way he could mess it up was by trading away the pick.
I mean, he got a QB in the second round. I mean, that's pretty huge. Jaden Daniels could end up being one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the
Yep.
world.
Yep, I agree.
And
I mean, you got
Marvin Romer studs. Xavier Worthy is fast as hell, and he's playing with Patrick Mahomes.
The only questionable thing here was, and I'm not even like, I'm gonna put up my grade right now. I give this an A+ draft recap grade. A+. So I'm not even really questioning it, but there is a part of me that should he have gone Brooks? Brooks is going to be out for a few weeks, but is hopefully going to be a stud running back.
You know, Rome was an obvious pick. I can't
Rome
believe
was
he
an
fell
obvious
to 5.
I can't believe he fell that far either. If I had known that, I wouldn't have made the Alonzo trade. If I knew he was
Going on
gonna
to
fall that far.
Brooks versus Worthy, I think you can't go wrong.
No, I agree. And this is a wide receiver dominant league, so you can't fault the ball. I can't fault the boy.
It's a great draft.
Yeah. Let's move on here to Chris. Chris also had a bunch of first round picks. We're gonna give this draft an A. Neighbors, obvious too, would be the number 1 overall pick in any other year that Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't available. Brock Bowers at 4. I thought that was interesting.
Cock Bowers.
And then he followed that up with a Trey Benson pick at 110. Won't probably pay off this year until James Conner gets hurt. And I think for sure next year he'll probably be, I don't know. I don't know if
The
Connor's
Trey
back.
Benson show.
I think it will be the Trey Benson show very soon. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I think that was a great pick at 202. And then he got Michael Penis at 302. Yeah, the quarterback.
You could taxi squad Michael Penix for all 3 years, and he still might not be the starter yet.
Nope. and he'd be 30 years old.
But that's A-okay because Chris already has some good QBs on his roster.
He sure does. Doesn't really need them. Just saw value.
You know, it's a good draft.
Good draft from Chris. Here we go. We got an audio here for Garrett. Let's see what this is.
Embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Garrett's
That's a
draft.
little harsh.
You think so?
No.
Here's maybe some inside info for people who don't know. Garrett offered up the 103 for a first round pick and a second round pick, which I immediately offered because I was like, I would take the 103 to grab Rome. Garrett fully well knew that Caleb was the pick for him. Do you think he would have fallen to 7?
Impossible to tell.
Maybe.
Maybe.
There is no way Chris or Zach takes him, and I wasn't going to take him.
I mean, this is the best quarterback prospect since what, like Peyton Manning?
But it is a 10-man league with one quarterback.
True.
Well,
But
regardless,
he already has Goff, so he's got an elite option.
got an elite option already. I think he also had maybe some needs elsewhere. His team is very injured at the moment, and Caleb will start, I guess, but I don't think he's going to be like.
You guess. He's got great weapons, and he's one of the best prospects of all time.
Hear me out. I bet Goff will be a better fantasy quarterback this year than Caleb Williams.
Maybe.
It's questionable. He needed a quarterback. I think he could have waited. He followed that up with Blake Corum. That's actually a pretty good pick.
Yeah,
Maybe an F-.
Blake Corum ended up in a kind of unfortunate spot.
But he's a good running back.
Yeah.
And if Kyron goes down, that's a great situation. Jatavian Sanders in the 3rd.
No it's a 3rd.
Yeah.
It's a tight end. Not a sexy pick, but
following it up with Bo Nix at quarterback.
Okay, if he wouldn't have taken Caleb, I actually kind of like this pick now. Bo Nix has looked pretty damn good.
But he got both of them, so he's basically the Washington Redskins.
Whoa.
Well, they were known as that at the time. Yeah. Maybe I'm just salty because Garrett didn't let me make that trade to get Rome.
I think that's fine. That's a fine grade.
All right, then we got Aaron. Aaron made that trade with Chris to move back. So he was picking at 108 where he got Ladd. I think that's a great pick, especially with who had been taken earlier. And then he followed it up with Ricky. Oof.
Damn. Yikes.
That boy got shot.
I think Debo's out of San Francisco after this year, though. So Ricky might be a good player next year.
If he can avoid getting shot up.
Yeah. I mean, 50 Cent survived way more than that. So Ricky,
way more.
He can take a few more bullets.
Trump took a shot to the head too. So
yeah.
Follow that up with the 209 with Jalen Wright. I think that's a great pick. Amazing pick, especially since he has pick.
He has Achane. Mostert probably got 1, maybe 2 years left.
Yeah, I think that was a good pick, and he's fast as fuck.
Yeah, in the best running offense in the league. It's just a great it's just a great pick. And Marshawn Lloyd, that AJ Dillon injury boosted him up.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs might be kind of doo-doo, but Aaron has him too.
So he's all covered. Yeah, overall, great draft. We give that one an A-.
A great draft.
That's a great draft. The only reason it's not like an A+ is because like it's a little unfair. But Zach, he had the 101, so we got Marvin Harrison. Like that's
nobody truly elite.
Yeah, I think for what Aaron had, he nailed this draft. Now we're getting on to me, baby.
Give yourself an A-.
I gave myself an A minus. I maybe I'm just biased. I just can't believe Jonathan Brooks fell to the 7. He was not even on my board because I thought someone would take him. I thought I was going to end up with Xavier Ladd, and instead I got Brooks, who I love personally.
I think you're forgetting about Chuba, the real starting running back.
For like 4 or 5 weeks until Jonathan Brooks is ready.
Yeah, I mean Brooks is going to be good. Hopefully, if they're off, I mean Bryce Young needs to
do a little better.
Take a big step.
I followed that up with Adonai Mitchell, AD Mitchell. You may hear him referred to as.
Oof.
You think that? Hey, Josh Downs got hurt, so this pick is looking a lot better.
You know, he'll move back to number 3 when Downs comes back. Pittman is locked up. Downs is in his 2nd year. He's going to be in that number 3 spot for a long time.
Okay. Jermaine Burton. I like this pick because I hope T. Higgins is gone after this year. And then maybe, just maybe, he moves up to the number 2 for Joe Burrow. And then somehow Drake May fell to 310.
I mean, that's a great Mr. Irrelevant pick.
I think he embodies it.
You know, just take a shot on a QB who's a first rounder. He's going to start at some point this year, probably sooner rather than later.
See what I got. Keep him on the taxi squad until he...
The only problem is he's on, the shittiest offense ever assembled.
Yeah. I mean, they have been throwing shit at the wall, and they're trying to see what sticks in terms of skill positions. So we'll go on from there. All right, Tim. Thank you for doing this. You highlighted in red if these players were no longer on the team they drafted or were drafted by. So Tim took Keon Coleman at 109. He took Troy Franklin at the 205.
Counting the 5th and 7th.
No, I'm not counting that as if he just drafted them and kept them.
Okay. Then
it's a good draft.
I'm not a big fan of Troy Franklin or Xavier Leggett or
like
Devon Baker, to be honest. Keon Coleman, though,
good pick.
Going to be a stud.
All right, let's move on here.
Gosh, he's sitting on the IR. He's my 4th quarterback. Goal, baby.
He's a Viking.
Exactly. So, he'll probably take over when Mahomes retires. He's like the next Mahomes, so.
He might be better even.
Probably.
A little spin. Let's move on to Paul here. We have a little audio for this one. Come on now. We have Jalen Polk at the 208 and Jalen McMillan at the 308. This is a fine draft. Again, it's nothing.
I like both of those players where they went.
Yeah,
he didn't have much, but he made the best of it.
Nope. Yep, that's why you get to see. I mean, he had a 2nd round pick and a 3rd round pick, pretty late on both, and some picks that needed to be made.
I mean, Jalen Polk
could be good with Drake.
New to that offense, so hopefully, they drafted a good player for once.
We'll find out.
Jalen McMillan probably going to take over for Mike.
Will be probably pretty soon.
Chris Godwin will be the true elite receiver there, though.
Exactly. Next up, we're getting Ian. I actually didn't add this man here. Do you want to explain that?
Well, I saw this draft, and it kind of just made me. I had that reaction. That was me.
Fair enough.
And he had 1 pick, the 2nd to last. Drake May was available, and he takes Malachi Corley. I think he drafted on name alone here.
It's a sweet name.
He just thought Malachi was pretty cool, which I might have done the same thing. It is pretty cool.
Now,
but Aaron Rodgers,
Who knows? You may see the I, and I put the I next to you for incomplete. This one, in fact, actually stands for Ian.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then we got the K, who also gets an I for Ben's nut. Well, he ended up
Yeah.
trading him for
Well,
two second-round picks
I
anyways.
would give Cade an A++ because he traded the 210 for the 26 and the 27 or whatever it was.
What a steal. And you know what? That ends the first ever Wacky Podcast.
All right.
Just kidding. We got more. Predictions for week 1.
Oh shit.
All right. I got them split up. I'm gonna take myself because I want to win. I picked you. I really want you to beat Cade. That'd be really nice. I have Ian over Chris. I have Paul over Garrett, and I have Aaron beating Tim.
Any reasoning? It's pretty obvious.
I don't know if it's obvious. That's just I'm not gonna go through with everyone. Once
Okay.
I lose, once I score the least amount of points, I'll shotgun and I'll give more in-depth analysis.
That's fair. So I got you over Zach.
Woohoo!
Cade is gonna beat me 100%. There's no way I
Cade-
win.
I will say
And,
Cade already won. Cade has
Yeah,
already won.
I mean, it's over. There's no such thing as a jinx either, so like this isn't gonna affect anything.
No. And if Cade
Um,
ever says like GG to you or anything, I'm gonna take it as he's making fun of you and he's like, "Oh, this game's over."
Yeah,
Even if
that
he
would be
tries to
pretty.
explain it.
That would be pretty rude.
Yeah.
I'm hitting him with a GG before the season starts, so good luck beating that.
Yeah,
I got Ian over Chris. Jamar Chase might not play.
Yeah. That was a big
Paul
one for
over
me.
Garrett.
Garrett's team extremely injured.
Extremely injured. Aaron versus Tim. I got Tim here.
That's game
Tim
of the week.
sold. That is game of the week. Tim sold out on winning this year, so I think he's got a decent shot.
All right. Any final thoughts before we end this podcast? Good talk.
No.
And with that, we're gonna close out here. Thank you everyone for listening, and good luck this season. Except for
Good
you,
luck,
Kate. You
boys.
already won.